When we ask people what caused the fall of Rome, the first answers that come to mind are usually the strengthening of the barbarians who took over power, the legions breaking apart because of ambition, and the games played inside the palaces. But in reality, countries do not collapse only because of external factors. Sometimes their end comes from internal problems. And one of the often overlooked internal factors within Rome was the loss of trust in its money. Rome had established its economic foundation on the silver denarius. This coin was used to pay salaries, conduct trade, and secure the wealth of the people. To call the denarius merely a payment tool would be wrong. It also represented the trust placed in Rome itself. People trusted Rome, and with it, they trusted its money. Money and the state were deeply connected. Trust in money was directly proportional to the foundation of the country. Keeping a nation from collapsing was not cheap at all. Soldiers' salaries had to be paid without delay, bridges and aqueducts had to be built for the people, and cities and ports had to be protected, because the state collected taxes to do these things. However, by the 2nd century AD, Rome was in a great economic crisis. Since expenses were extremely high, tax revenues were no longer enough. The government's solution was very old, but the outcome was never good, reducing the silver in the coins and thus lowering their value. After this decision, the silver ratio in the denarius decreased very quickly. During the reign of Augustus, the silver content was 95%. During Caracalla's time, it dropped to 50%, and by the time of Gallienus, it had fallen to 0. Now, instead of the trusted coins of old, people held bronze discs coated with silver. People could both see and feel this change. Confidence began to disappear. This situation inevitably led to one thing: inflation exploded. Prices started to rise very quickly. Goods that could once be bought for a few denarii suddenly cost dozens. The value of money was melting away day by day. People looked for desperate ways to survive. The soldiers, the backbone of the defense system, started demanding raises, as they could no longer keep up with the rising cost of living. In trade, the devalued currency was no longer accepted, and the old barter system returned. And then, perhaps, the last option that should have been chosen was taken: printing more cheap money. This method only accelerated the cycle. In the 3rd century AD, Rome was dominated by crisis. Emperors stayed in power for only a few months before being replaced. Civil wars, invasions, plagues, and economic collapse turned everything upside down. Taxes were collected in increasingly worthless coins. Farmers abandoned their lands, and trade networks fell apart. The government tried measures such as price controls and forced labor, but nothing worked. By the year AD 301, the emperor of that time, Diocletian, issued the Edict on Maximum Prices. According to this decree, the prices of goods and services were fixed by law. Those who disobeyed the rules were punished by death. But one important thing was forgotten. The money itself had already lost its value. No law, no matter how strict, could control prices under such circumstances. The result was inevitable. The black market grew rapidly, and official trade came to a standstill. Once again, people learned that a broken currency could not be repaired by decree or law. Around AD 312, while all this was happening, Constantine the Great introduced a new gold coin called the solidus, replacing the denarius. This brought back a sense of trust in the Eastern Roman Empire and created a period of stability. But in the Western Roman Empire, things were much worse. The nation had already weakened. Armies could no longer be financed, trade networks had broken, and public confidence had completely vanished. The fall of Rome did not happen overnight. It was a long process of decline. And one of the most critical causes of that downfall was the currency crisis. History teaches us some lessons very clearly. When trust in money ends, the nation and its society begin to slowly dissolve. Trade stops, contracts fail, armies collapse, and governments lose their legitimacy. Some nations that failed to learn from Rome tried to cover up their problems by devaluing their money over the years. But this only made the rich richer, while ordinary people paid the highest price. Weimar Germany, Zimbabwe, and modern economies are recurring examples of this model. Even today, the situation is not that different. Inflation is actually a deliberate policy tool. It is a serious mistake to see wealth as paper money or numbers on a screen. Real wealth lies in land, productive work, skills, and resources that don't lose their value. The people of Rome could never have imagined that their money would one day become worthless. The Germans of the 20th century couldn't imagine it either, and the Zimbabweans of the 1980s believed independence guaranteed prosperity. But the result was always the same. In summary, nations may go through hard times, and some may even fall. But what truly accelerates that collapse always begins inside the treasury. The fall of a monetary system means the fall of a nation. If you enjoy videos like this, subscribe, like, and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.